There's Sylvia Gorenszach here. How's everybody doing? Today we're going to talk about prepping your nails before you're actually putting the nail polish on. So what I do before I even do anything is I have my silicone mat here that you can get off the GelMoment website. It's really easy for cleanup. And I wipe it with a Lysol wipe or some kind of antibacterial agent just to make sure it's nice and clean. I also take one of our cleanser wipes, which I have open here, and clean the remover tool, okay? So you should do this each time just to make sure that it's full of any kind of dirt or anything else that might be on these tools, and just clean both ends. With your file, you can also take some hand sanitizer and actually spray it if you would like, and just let it dry completely, because that'll help get rid of any kind of grimy things that might be on your file. Now, before I continue on, I want to show you a newer file to an old file. So this is the new file here, this is the old file, and when I flip it over you can see the difference here. So if your file looks like this one, it's time to toss it. There could be all sorts of things growing on here. You want to basically have a nice safe haven for your nails, and using one like this, who knows what you might be putting back on your nails, right? So I keep this around for comparison's sake. And that's about it. But this is a nice newer file here. I would say that the files last about 6 months. It depends on how often you do your manicure. I do my manicure about every 3 weeks, so it lasts about 6 months for me. So let's get to how to file your nails. My nails are naturally thin and bendy, so I know that there's some people that when they file their nails, they can do the sawing motion back and forth. I am personally not one of them, because if I do that, then what happens, it leads to the nails peeling and splitting. So I always do the one motion file. So what I do here is I will file from the outside and go towards the middle, always in one motion, never the sawing back and forth motion. If you have rock hard nails, beautiful, awesome. Maybe you can do that, and maybe that's the only way that you can file down some of the length of your nails, is to go back and forth because you're there for a while. I'm not like that, so I'm just showing you how to do that here. So you basically go from the outside in towards the middle until you get the desired shape. Okay, that looks good. So now what I also find with my nails, so now that I've filed my nails, you'll see that I'm pulling away some of the dust in here, and I have some of those just loose nails there. I'm not sure what you would actually call it. So I actually take the buffing side just to kind of buff those away without changing the shape of the nail. And it just kind of gets rid of those loose little pieces, because when you're applying your polish, you don't want to have any of those on there, because then your polish will just chip right off on when you're doing your capping. Okay, so there is our nail. Now, when you take your tool, you can gently push back your cuticles and use either side. I prefer this side. Some people will do this along the edges. I prefer this side to get any kind of cuticle growth that might be on the nail, and I'm gently just pressing, trying to remove all that stuff, because you want to have a clean nail bed for the polish to adhere to. Now, if you have drier cuticles, then what you can do is place a little bit of cuticle oil on your nail beforehand, so that it can help loosen it up or moisten it up a little bit, so that it's easier to push back. And you just want to push back gently. Don't want to push back too hard, because you don't want to damage or traumatize the nail bed at all. Now that our cuticles are pushed back, you can take the buffing side of your file to lightly buff your nails. So when you're buffing from your nails, I always buff from the cuticle down to the tip, so with the grain of your nail. I kind of explain it when I'm explaining it to people like as if you were staining a piece of wood. You would always stain with the grain, right? So I always do that as well, and I only do about 2 passes or 3 passes per each section, and that is it. The nail is completely buffed now. You don't want to over buff, because over buffing will thin out your nails after time, and actually the polish will have a harder time to stay on your nails. After this, you're going to take your cleanser pad and cleanse the nails. So now when you're cleansing the nail, you want to cleanse, make sure you get right into that side, into the sidewalls, into the nail bed, or get all the nail bed as well. And then underneath, if you have any kind of length, even if you just have a tiny little bit of length and your nails are really short, it's really important to kind of cleanse as much as you can get off as well, because there's oils that exist everywhere in here. And then as you're doing the capping won't stay on very well when you have a little bit of oils on your nail still, right? So you just want to make sure everything's really clean, get inside everywhere. And then now this is a completely clean nail ready for polish. After you have cleansed your nails, give it a good 30 seconds so that the cleanser pad solution dries completely off of your nails, because you don't want to put the polish on your nails when you just cleansed your nails, because it might recede a little bit, or you might get some spotting. You want complete dry nails. All right, so I have Orchid Majestic here, and I will show you how to apply the polish. So when you apply the polish, you want to have really thin coats, okay? So when you take the brush out of the bottle right now, there's way too much polish on here. So you're either going to use the swirl method to get the polish off, or just the sides. Take the brush and wipe it off the neck of the bottle to take the excess off the brush, okay? When you're applying the polish, you want to stay away from all sides of your cuticle. So that includes this top cuticle here and your side walls. So it's called embracing the gap. It's important to not get any polish on your fingers, or sorry, you want it on your fingernails, but you don't want it on your skin. If you do, not to worry, grab your cleanser pad and you're going to wipe it up right away. Okay, so let's proceed. So when you're applying the polish, I always apply just before the cuticle, and I press down and go towards the cuticle, but don't touch the cuticle, and then come down. You're going to do the same thing all the way around the nail. Okay. Now, when you're capping the nail, if you have long length like me, I just turn my nail over and run the brush along the edge. If you have short nails, so we'll pretend that I have a short nail right now, you can actually do this with your brush. And instead of this motion, you're going to have this motion and do the zigzag motion and go over the edge of your nail. And when you come back with the brush, it actually grabs some polish and puts it on the edge here. Now, if you have short nails and that's the technique that you were using, you're probably going to get some polish on your skin. So before you place it underneath the lamp, you want to take that cleanser pad and you're going to wipe everything off of your skin here. If you have anything on your cuticles, you're going to wipe it off here. If you can't really get in there really tightly with your finger, wrap this cleanser pad around your tool to get right into the corners and clean that all up, okay? So when using that zigzag motion though, I find that it messes up the polish just a little bit because you're doing that zigzag motion, so it kind of makes the polish uneven. So, and I always do this even just capping with long nails. I polish, cap, and then polish again just to kind of smooth it out, because when you cap your nails, you may end up with a little bit excess on the edge, which can then chip right off. Now, this nail is ready for putting it under the lamp, so I don't have anything on my cuticles or on my skin. You'll see that I have embraced the gap a bit here and on the side. You don't have to go right to the edge of the nail, okay? Let's give that a full cure. Now this finger is ready for its second coat. Again, we want to ensure that you have thin coats of polish on here so that it doesn't bubble up, and peel off if it's too thick. If it's too thick, then what happens is the lamp will cure the top layer of the polish, but it will not be able to cure underneath, which can then lead to you having wet polish on the nail, which is what we don't want either. And let's give that a cure. After each manicure, I always take one of our 5 cuticle oils. I love the almond quench. I just love the smell of it. And I place a little bit on my nail. So not only do I put it around the cuticle here, I always put it up to the first knuckle here. If you're just sitting around watching TV or you got a few minutes to spare, you can let this soak in. If you're in a rush, you can just rub it in. Rubbing it in is actually great for you too, because it helps bring a little bit of blood to the surface of your, or to the tip of your finger, because you're promoting healthy blood circulation. My goodness. And why I put the cuticle oil up to my first knuckle is because your nail bed actually starts right about here, and so it absorbs through the skin and hits that nail bed, and then your nails will grow in nice and healthy as it gets those nutrients from the cuticle oil. Thank you so much for watching my videos. If you enjoyed this, then please like and subscribe and be ready for my next one. Ciao, ciao.